do you have any advice when it comes to resisting things that are so, dopamine driven?
Again, I think the first step is just education and awareness. So you just, I think you need to take kind of a comprehensive look at all of this: diet, substance use, sleep, movement. And going back to where we started this, you don't have to do it all at once, one small change at a time. So when it comes to reducing substance use, you don't have to go cold turkey overnight on every. So if you're using a lot of substances, maybe you're going to try to take a few weeks or a month to slowly wean off and just be, give your body, brain a little more time. If you can do that. Some people can't. Some people, it's just too tempting. Every time if you eat one, so to speak, you got to eat the whole bag. And if you smoke one, you got to keep smoking. Some people do better with complete abstinence. Other people can figure out a way. But first, step one is awareness. And the awareness that I really want you to be mindful of are two things I want you to just be aware of and take stock. One, I don't feel great. I do not feel well a lot. And I would like that to change. I would like to feel better. There's something wrong. There's something wrong with me or my life or whatever, with the way I feel, my motivation, my brain function, my mood, my anxiety. There's something wrong and I would like it to get better. That is critically important. So this is kind of motivational interviewing. I'm kind of talking you through it, but there has to be something in it for you. You have to want something different or better. And that is going to be the foundation of why you're even going to put yourself through the bother of trying to make any changes. And then the second thing is awareness that this substance that I'm using that is so wonderful because it makes my anxiety just go away. But then unfortunately it comes back in 30 minutes and then I have to use some more. And then it comes back in 30 and then I have to use more. You need to recognize, wow, this substance might be putting me on this roller coaster, might be having me hooked, might be contributing to me not thriving. And I want to be able to thrive. I want to feel good. I want to feel alive. I want to get stuff done. I want to be somebody. I want to have the relationships or the career that I want. And this might be holding me back. And then it's just one step at a time. I'll give one tip. I mean, there are literally hundreds of tips for, people who are addicted to alcohol, for example. AA has thousands of tips probably for people. But one easy one is distraction. Figure out when are you more likely to use, and then figure out what can I do to distract myself? What can I replace that habit with? If you come home at the end of the day and you know that you're going to be stressed because you hate your job and you feel like your boss is always on you and whatever, and you know that's when you're going to use, maybe you come home at the end of the day and you go right out that door and take a walk around the block. Or maybe you don't even go home and you stop at the gym instead and you do a workout. And if the workout can reduce your stress enough so that when you do come home, you can resist the use.
Yeah. It's tough, right? Because you take away this solution that has been masking so many people's problems for such a long period of time. I've talked about this before, and this is just my own personal experience. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And that, typically when people are getting into recovery, their life isn't great, right? They're not functioning alcoholics normally. I mean, it does happen, but generally speaking, from what I understand, people hit some level of rock bottom in their life. And they're like, you know what? This isn't serving me. And now they're faced with this situation where you're taking away the solution that has been fixing their problems for a while, and their self-esteem is such crap that they don't have the ability to be like, oh, like I have confidence in myself to improve my life because now my life is kind of a bit messed up. And I share that because, and I'd love to get your thoughts on that, but also like, do you think it's, I mean, I've been from day one of, talking about my recovery, I've been so passionate about people implementing exercise and proper nutrition to help with recovery from addiction. Again, for me, it's more psychological. Like I feel good, I look good, but also I'm sure there's obviously something that happens in the brain. Do you think that there's benefit to people doing things that raise their dopamine in a healthy way to help them resist some of the unhealthy stuff?
100%. And, if you're really addicted, if you're really hooked on alcohol or drugs to the point that it's really impairing your life, more than likely anything else that you do will pale in comparison in the first day or two. Nothing, because you're going to go through withdrawal actually. And that's going to sensitize you even more. Like, no, I really, really need a drink right now. No, I really need a drink. This time it's different. It's like I kind of sort of needed a drink yesterday, but today I haven't had a drink in 36 hours. And oh my God, the only thing that's going to make me feel better is a drink. And then if I tell that person, so go exercise, they're going to say, yeah, that exercise didn't work. I tried it. It didn't work. So we need to set expectations. There's no way the exercise is going to do exactly what a drink would have done at that 36-hour window, because you are in withdrawal and your body is literally craving alcohol to try to regulate itself because it is now hooked on this harmful substance. And so you need to understand that. But if you can start to implement that slowly but surely, maybe the second or third day or the fifth day or the 10th day, you will start getting a little bit of pleasure from that exercise or whatever you're doing for your dopamine hit. And a dopamine hit, really, it could be as simple as just go for a walk and just notice how nice nature is, or hang out with your significant other and give each other a massage, or just be nice, like hold hands or something, and be mindful of like, oh, that's really nice to like get a massage, and maybe that leads to something else that could lead to a dopamine hit. All sorts of ways to get dopamine hits that can be more helpful. And, if you've got kids, just spend some time with your beautiful child and hug them, or get down on the floor and play with them, or run outside in the grass or the snow or whatever with them, and try to get your dopamine hit that way.
Right. And so I guess, when it comes to like resetting your mind, I would imagine it's a similar approach that you kind of laid out before we started talking about dopamine, in that, you got to get your diet in check. Sleep is paramount. Talk about like the importance of sleep and why, that should not go unnoticed when it comes to your mental health and in recovering from addiction. What tips do you have from a science or research based perspective for people to implement to be able to like optimize their sleep quality and feel refreshed when they wake up?
Number one, I'm going to tell you what not to do. Number one, please do not take pills and drugs or alcohol or other things to try to get sleep. So some people will come away from what I just said, like, sleep is foundational. It is so critical. You got to get, and then they're like, well, I can't sleep 8 hours, so I'll smoke some marijuana and have a drink or two. And then, oh, gee, those get me to sleep, but then you're waking up all night. And then of course, you need more alcohol and marijuana, or sleeping pills, or melatonin gummies, or whatever. Everybody wants a quick fix. Unfortunately, those quick fixes are not allowing you to get natural, restorative, healing kind of sleep. They can impair some of those processes that I just mentioned in terms of, slow wave sleep and getting some toxins out of your brain and other things. So I think it's important for people to just understand, okay, here's the goal. The goal is for me to be able to get adequate sleep without the use of any substances. Different people are going to be in different positions for this one. Some people might be really close, and all they need to do is turn off your cell phone like a half an hour before you want to be in bed. Turn it off. And I already can hear you. You're going to say, but I'll be so bored. And I'm going to say, yeah, exactly. That's the treatment. You're going to turn off that cell phone. You're going to put it somewhere else, charge it up somewhere else out of your bedroom, and then just sit with yourself, sit with your thoughts. And you're probably going to get uncomfortable and bored and restless. And you're going to be like, where's my phone? And if you sit with that a little longer, you're probably going to be like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I want my phone. That's the way it's going to go in a lot of people's minds. And what I'm telling you is, no, when you feel that I'm so tired, that's your cue to go to bed. And then you're just going to like lay your head down on a pillow and you're actually going to fall asleep. And then you're more likely to wake up the next morning feeling better rested. So for some people, it's that simple. I already can hear the people in your audience who are complaining, yelling at me right now, like, I'm already on massive doses of melatonin and marijuana and alcohol, and I'm still only getting 4 hours of sleep. And you're giving me stupid, simple advice, and there's no way that will. So for those people, it's a marathon, not a sprint. You're not going to be sleeping normally without any pills tomorrow. I'm really sorry. Why? Why do I say that? Because you are really down deep in a hole. And I'm really sorry that you're there. And we're going to get you out of there. But it's going to be one step at a time, one day at a time, one strategy at a time. And you're going to have to slowly but surely wean off some of these substances that you're using to sleep. And then you're going to slowly but surely implement all of these sleep hygiene tools. So if you don't know them, just Google sleep hygiene and it'll tell you the 20 different steps you can take for sleep hygiene. They're pretty basic. It really is about just being in a routine, living a boring, monotonous, mundane life, trying to get regular sleep. And although I say that facetiously, because some people, when they hear me talk about some of these strategies, they do think like, that's so boring and mundane. I'm not going to use any drugs and I'm not going to even have ultra processed foods. And I'm going to go to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time. What a boring life. That if you're one of those people who's thinking that, let me just share with you, this may seem impossible to believe, but if you do these things for several months, just 3 months, give it 3 months. If you can get to the other side, there is a very good chance you will feel better than you've probably ever felt in your whole life. And you will be dumbfounded. I mean, dumbfounded that you, yes, you, the loser, the slacker, the person whose brain doesn't work right, you can feel great. You can feel amazing. You can feel motivated. You can feel passion. And once you get a taste of that, once you get a taste of health, you will never want to go back. You won't want those other things because you'll realize those other things were robbing me of a great life. Like having passion and purpose and energy and motivation and cognitive function, it really, no amount of ultra processed food compares at the end of the day. No amount of alcohol or marijuana compares. It really doesn't. But I get it when people are stuck in this ditch and they're drowning in all of that. It's a hard place to get out of. You can